there's no negative part of getting old. It's that, it's fine, whatever you want to do, you can do. But there's, it's just a stereotype that getting old sucks. And I don't agree with that. I see it. Okay, this book tour is a good example of how, like, and I'm including myself in this category. Old people have trouble sometimes adapting to changes in the world. And one clear example you see if you're an author on book tour is the way people take pictures. A lot of people, and it's very flattering, would like a picture of you when they get their book signed. And so when phones became the thing, everybody take out the phone. Here's how young people take a picture of you on the phone. Okay, they take out the phone, they take the picture, and that's that. Here's how your older people take a picture. Take out the phone, look at that for a minute. Oh no, I think it's on Google. Then they tap it a little bit more. Oh, okay, smile. Oh no, wait, it's taking a video. Hold on. Okay, now smile. Oh no, it took a picture of me. And then they give it to a young person who goes, and it's all over. So, and it's not just that. It's and ARP has this thing about enough with the Dottie Driver memes. I live in Miami. Okay, I live in Florida. We have a lot of older drivers down there. We have people who drive by what I call the seeing eye wife system of driving. It's a older couple, and the man drives the car. Why? Because the man drives the car. That's why. But the man can no longer see. So he has outsourced the seeing to his wife. He's saying, she's going, and I've been in cars with people driving by this. It's an arrow, but no, not that way. This is a true story, which I may have told here before, I don't know. True story, about 5 years ago, Miami police stopped a 72-year-old man driving a Chevrolet Cobalt, which in itself is not that weird. It's where they stopped him, and this is the truth. Runway 9, Miami International Airport. This happened. A man burst through a perimeter gate without realizing it and was on a runway when they got him to stop. Now, to me, that shows a lack of awareness on the part. I don't know about you. If I'm driving and I notice I'm tailgating a 757, I'm going to say, I am not on the expressway anymore, And what bothers me, that's my airport. I was in that airport a couple of days ago. I can't get in the airplane there with bottled water. He's out there with a Cobalt, It's like, but anyway. But ARP says this is like, disregard all this stuff. And this is an actual quote from mail I get from ARP. You aren't too old for anything. That's the attitude of ARP. I disagree with that. Let's take airline pilots as an example. They are required to retire at age 65. Now, I'm sure most of them are still fine pilots at age 65. But I get why they get asked to retire, because do we want to just let it keep going? You want them to keep flying planes into their 70s, into their 80s, into their 90s? Does ARP want to get on a plane and hear the pilot say something like, ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. We have reached our cruising altitude, so I'm going to go ahead and, wait a minute, my bad. My first officer informs me we are still on the runway. We're behind a Cobalt. So anyway, my point is, I've been unhappy with when, turn 70, it's a big one. You start to think about how much longer you have, what you've done with your life, what else you want to do with your life. And I wasn't really too happy with the results of that analysis. Meanwhile, Lucy, my dog, could not be happier. Everything about her is just joyful. She's the most enthusiastic, happy creature I know. And the idea behind the book was simple enough. It's just like, what is she doing that I could do that would make me happier like her? That's all. And I'm not saying that dogs are smart. If you know anything about my work, I don't think dogs are smart, okay? But I'm saying they might be wise. There's some wisdom they have. There's some things they've learned over the years over the thousands of years that work for them, and they keep doing those things. And the difference is we know those things. There's not a single thing in this book that everybody here doesn't already know. It's obvious, advice. The thing is, we stop doing most of these things. Dogs never stop. They just keep doing the same things until they die, and they don't even see that coming. They're happy enough. They don't need to prearrange their funeral. They're just happy cruising along, and then they die, and it's a happy life they lead. So anyway, I cannot stress enough how much I'm not saying that you should view dogs as like gurus. Okay, that is not. I will give you an example of why we should not say that. At the time of hurricane, as I said, live in Miami. We have a lot of hurricanes. The hurricane season down there runs from June through the following June. And so I've been through a bunch of hurricanes. And probably my favorite single dog story ever happened in 1992. Hurricane Andrew passed directly over what was my house. And at the time of Hurricane Andrew, I had two dogs. I had a large Maine dog named Ernest and a small auxiliary backup dog named Zippy. Now, you need two dogs in case your main dog goes down in the hurricane. So prior to Hurricane Andrew, I let Ernest and Zippy out every morning via a two-stage procedure. And if you've ever had a dog, you know that going out in the morning is a big deal to the dog. Okay, the dog gets very excited. Dog can't believe you thought of it, even though you do it every single day. Dog, whoa, what a great idea. Where it's a cat is there, it's like you about time, you zit brain, But dogs are just they can't get over how intelligent we are, so anyway, it was a two-stage procedure for Ernest and Zippy. I would open the back door of the house. They would rush out into our patio, which had a screen enclosure around it, which you need in South Florida to keep the mosquitoes from stealing your patio furniture. And they would race across the patio to the screen door and wait for me, very eager. And I would go over and open the screen door, and they would go out into the yard. Hi, Amy. I just realized you're here. So that was a procedure: back door, screen door, yard. And they learned that the way dogs learn a procedure. So comes Hurricane Andrew, and the screen enclosure is orbiting the Earth. It's gone. But the screen door was still there. So you don't think dogs are that smart either, do you? Really? You know exactly where I'm going. It was about a 2-week learning curve, during which time I'd open the back door and they ran to the screen door, just surrounded by nothing. This really happened, and they would wait for me because that was the procedure, okay? So again, not saying dogs are smarter. I am saying they are wiser. And I talk in the book about some things they do that they're very good about that I'm not good about. And I got much worse about as years passed. One of them simple is like, make friends. Keep in touch with the friends you have, make friends. Lucy's great about making friends. Anybody she meets, she loves immediately. Any dog, any person. She's a friend. And I was like that, I think, more anyway, when I was a kid, even through college. But after a while, you get older, you get more picky. Like, I don't want to see my friend. I don't even like my friends, I'm not even sure my friends are still alive. Only way to know would be to call them up. I'm not going to do that. I think it's in a kind of a generalization, but too bad. I think women are better about this. Women, my wife can call any of her friends for any reason, anytime, and they can just talk for hours. No, it don't have to be any reason at all. If a guy calls another guy, the question is immediately, why? You have to have a reason for the call. And then once you get out of that way, you're done. It's like, what are you going to talk about now? Which is I can not see somebody I can not see a friend for like 20 years and see that friend, and we can be completely caught up in 45 seconds. And then it's either we stop or we go to sports, which is, I think, only exists so guys have something to talk to. My wife can, see somebody, then go away for an hour and come back and see that person again, and they can talk about that hour for 4 hours. So they're just better at it. So I have made a point of trying to stay in better touch with my friend. I'm not saying I'm doing a great job, but I'm trying to do it better. One of the big ones is it's again simple. Nothing you don't know. Have fun. Like when you're a kid, that's all you do. You have fun. You know, it doesn't occur to you to even do anything but have fun. That's all you're trying to do ever. And then, you know, as you get older and you have more obligations, academic at first, and then professional and family and everything, you still sometimes have fun, but you're spending a lot of time doing things that aren't so much fun. And then I think at some point you kind of stop, and mostly if you get older, you stop having fun because you think it's inappropriate. It's not, you know, it's beneath you. It's not, you know, it's silly. And so you begin to have what I call like ARP fun. Where they show any of the shows, you get ad, and for senior citizen products on TV, the people they're kind of having fun, but it takes the form of grinning. They're just standing around grinning on a golf course at a resort. They're not doing anything fun. You know, there's no drugs. There's no toilet exploding. They're just grinning, or maybe that's the drugs. I don't know, but I think a lot of it is just like you have to be dignified when you get old, and you can't do, you know, a lot of times, you know, things that are really fun are kind of silly. So I did this in inventory when I turned 70. What in my life has really been fun for me? What have I really, really enjoyed that just has no productive value at all, but it's fun? And I came up with a couple of things. The main one was music. When I was in college, I played in rock bands. And when I got out of college, that stopped, and you know, I had a career and all that. And later in life, I got connected with a bunch of other authors, and we formed a band called the Rock Bottom Remainders, which is a band of authors. And the authors are good. It's Scott Turow, Stephen King, Amy Tan, Mitch Albom, James McBride, Greya Giles. There's good authors in this band, but we're a terrible band. One of our members is Roy Blunt Jr., who describes our genre as hard listening music. I say we play. I call it the rumor method of music, which is to say, everybody's playing something, and then a rumor goes around that there's been a chord change, and we all eventually change to another chord, not necessarily the same new chord, but we have fun. We have a tremendous amount of fun, and we got formed when I was in my 40s, played through like my late 50s, then we kind of stopped. And I determined as a result of writing this book that we needed to get the band back together again, and got in touch with everybody and said, you know, come on. And we're going to play a gig. That's musician talk. You understood chord, right? Because that's a little tricky. That's a thing that they have in songs. But we're going to play at a big festival in Minneapolis in May. But the whole band is going to get back together, and I'm very excited about that because it's fun, and I love doing it. And I wouldn't have done it, I don't think, if I hadn't decided that I was never going to have fun again. If I didn't do something like make an effort to do it. Although there's I have to tell you one negative aspect to being in the band, or at least was negative for me. A lot of bands, I understand, the way they do it is they practice ahead of time. So they actually know which chords they intend to play. And then they play. Our technique has been to play the show and then go to a bar and say, we should have practiced those songs ahead of time. So that's our big weakness. But anyway, this is some years ago, but I think 15 years ago or so, we played a show in New York City, and afterward went to the hotel bar. And we're at the bar, and I was drinking, I believe, vodka gimlets. And next to me was Scott Turow, who is one of my favorite people, brilliant writer, funny guy, great guy. And he was carrying on an in-depth conversation with a person to his right about his spleen. And I was like, you know, talking to other people and drinking my vodka gimlets, and I kind of caught wind of this conversation. And I said, "Excuse me, but are you saying you don't have a spleen?" And Scott said, "Yeah, I don't have a spleen. That's the point of the story." Oh, okay. So then he goes back to talking. I made have another vodka gimlet, and then he said something that seemed wrong to me, and I tapped him and said, "Wait a minute, I thought you said you didn't have a spleen." And he goes, "No, I don't have a spleen. That is the point of the story." So, okay. Now, if you've ever been around a person who's had too many vodka gimlets, you maybe know what I did next. Another 10 minutes go by, and I'm troubled by something. And I said, "I thought you said you don't have a spleen." And Scott took a Sharpie, pulled up my sleeve and wrote "no spleen" in big letters on my right forearm. And that solved the problem for that rest of the evening. So then we went to bed. Not Scott and me. It's not, and it's not that I wouldn't. I like Scott, but and not in that way. But we went to bed, and next morning we had to get up early to take a train to Boston where we had another show. So I get up, and I'm not in good condition, and I'm staggering toward the bathroom, and I look in the mirror, and I see something's written on my arm. I have no memory of how it got there. I look down and it says "no spleen." So you know there's this urban legend, the businessman who drinks with an attractive woman at the bar and she slips something into his drink and he wakes up the next morning in his hotel bathtub packed in ice and there's a note saying that they've harvested his kidney. And for just one horrible minute there, I thought, they've harvested my spleen. And I don't know where it is. So I don't really know. I don't know where you check for that, you know. But then as my brain slowly rebooted, I thought, that's ridiculous. Nobody would harvest you. You don't need a spleen. I mean, they're always taking people's spleens out. They do it for recreational purposes in hospital, you know. There's no market for spleens, is what I'm saying. It's probably a saying in organ harvesting circles. He's so stupid he would harvest a spleen, you know. So that wasn't great. And I guess the lesson, it's not really a lesson from Lucy. The lesson I would draw from that is don't have that many vodka gimlets.